Welcome to the Bad Bitch Revolution. I'm Selene, your host. I'm also the owner of HBIC Coaching. You can find me on Instagram there. Each episode is going to be pretty much a chaotic feral goddess mess, but I hope you enjoy. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to the Bad Bitch Revolution. I'm your host, Selene Devereaux, the HBIC and HBIC Coaching, and I'm here with one of my favorite baddies, Sir Drewski. Love him. Drew, tell us all the wonderful things about you and why
Drewski in the
you want to be a
building.
baddie so bad.
I thought I already was a baddie. Am I still in training?
You're still in training. Everybody's in training. Listen, everybody's a baddie, but like you guys are baddies in training. I just need you to know that.
How do I get my certificate of completion? Like, what's the graduation look like?
It's a lifelong journey. I mean, like we can all aspire to be like as head bitch in charge as me, but
There can only be one.
I've got like 10 years on you guys. Wait, no, I'm sorry, 20 years on you guys. So maybe
I'm old. I'm older than you though, so I don't know if that math is mathing.
The math is mathing because the thing is just because you're older than me doesn't mean that you've been on the healing journey as long as me.
Okay, so we're counting in baddie years, not chronological years.
Listen, we don't count chronological years. My therapist likes to remind me that sometimes I live in a fantasy world. It's great here, though. It's great. Let me be delusional today, ma'am.
You got it. Yeah, ride the birthday wave. And so let me start with a happy belated birthday. I did a terrible friend thing by not sending birthday wishes on the 18th, and I hope I'm not doxing you by saying that. But we're not even going to say months, okay? Just the 18th. You know, they can figure it out.
Everybody knows when my birthday is. I'm very like loud about it because my birthday like has like such negativity around it. So like I'm always trying to like make myself feel better. I think like the first day of like birthday week, I was just like, I demand presents. Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me you love me. Tell me all the wonderful things because I mean, I know what I want, so I'm gonna ask for it.
So why does your birthday typically have like a negative dark cloud?
What did you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Why does your birthday typically have a negative association with it? I've got my own story too, so we can go there, but it gets dark quick. Mine does.
So growing up, like birthdays weren't like a really big deal. So like I didn't like ever get to be celebrated. And aside from like all the other things that like I did not have growing up, like of feeling like any type of like you matter, like you are special, like whatever. Especially around my birthday, it was always just like an inconvenience to like get me a birthday cake or an inconvenience for me to want to have a sleepover. And then as I got older, like it became even more and more like just a chore. And then like certain people stopped talking to me, and then my dad stopped texting me on my birthday, and like that really like that always just hurts me. And so like this time of the year is like the one time a year that like I really miss my dad, because it's so funny because him and my stepmom live in the same house and she texts me every year and he does not. Sir, how do you live in the same house as a person who is telling me happy birthday and you just conveniently forgot? So yeah, there's also that. But then also this month has been like a train wreck of like triggering things for me, which is so annoying because I was like, I didn't know that I could be triggered at this point. Like I didn't know that that was like a thing. But some
20 years of healing
journey, and
it brought. We're still getting triggered.
Like, God damn it! I don't want this. So like stuff went down, and it brought up like the friend breakup that I had like 2 years ago, the week before my birthday. So that really just like that accelerated like my depression timeline. It was like, you know what? Forget being manic. You know, we're gonna dive right in on that depression episode for you. Love that for you.
Happy birthday.
Like I've been like combating all of this like over this past week. And then like when I got sick, it was basically like my body's way of being like, bitch, slow the fuck down. You're doing too much. So yeah, so I slowed down, and then like I had a good cry, and then now I'm just like, I'll do it eventually.
It being what? Be happy on your birthday or what?
What?
When you said you'll do it eventually, what's the it?
Everything, anything, taking shit to like donate, doing laundry, cleaning the kitchen, getting rid of like everything that I own since like forever. Business stuff.
It's all overrated, except for the business stuff. I felt accomplished today because I groomed my mustache. So I got a nice little clean
Yes.
line here. Yep.
Yeah.
I did that like 5 minutes before the podcast. I've been neglecting it for about a month. And so, that's my version of doing it and getting it done.
I put my face on today because these dark circles were really dark circling today. And my best friend, she was like, it's your way of telling the world that you're tired of its bullshit. And I was like, no,
Love
like, I
it.
get that. I was like, but they're really out there. And I only need people to know like little bits of bullshit that they're annoying me with.
I actually had to get the lighting position just right to hide my bags under my eyes. And you can still kind of see them. But if the light hits it the wrong way, whoo.
You've got like the skin of a 25-year-old.
No. It's good lighting and poor quality camera. It just smooths everything over. That's it. You give me an HD and it's a different story altogether. How dark do we go here? Because I got a birthday story too, but mine's a little bit morbid. And it might just shut this whole podcast down within like the first 10 minutes of the conversation. Because it's like, I don't even know where you go from this story I'm about to tell, if I'm allowed to tell it. So, I mean, you tell me, do you want the showstopper 10 minutes in? Because we'll drop the mic and just...
I'm really good at pivoting off of everything and anything. So, I mean, it's like you're challenging me at this point. So let's go. Let's fucking go.
Buckle up, Buttercup. So when was this? What was the year? 2007 or so. Memory's kind of fuzzy at this point. I am maybe 24 or 25, and I'm at my mom's house cutting my hair because, I learned how to do that to save money on barbering. Plus, they always fucked up my hairline anyway because I got this weird widow's peak thing going on, and they always ended up pushing my shit back. And so I learned how to cut my own hair and give myself a nice little crispy lineup and not do the pushback thing. And so I'm one room over. She's in the master bedroom, and I'm in the hallway bathroom. This is a 3-level house, the bottom level being the basement. I don't know if they have those where you are in Missouri. Is that right? Yeah. Damn, I'm doxing the shit out of you. We'll edit that out. Okay. Birthday, February 18th, Missouri. We might as well just put your social security number on the screen. Okay. So anyway, I'm cutting my hair, and she's going through her own depressive thing because of the death of my father a few years prior to that. And he was like her rock and her only social outlet. There's more background there, but it's not necessarily relevant to the story. So she was feeling lonely. She was feeling isolated. I had my own growing family that I was tending to at the time, so I wasn't around as much as I probably should have been. And so I'm cutting my hair, and I hear this pop sound. And I go, oh, what's going on there? And she had been drinking heavily for the past few weeks leading up to that point, maybe even a little bit longer, and had been making some very dark statements. So I call out and I ask, is she okay? And she goes, yeah. And I say, oh, what's that? It sounded like a balloon popping, but a loud balloon, like one of those big comical, happy birthday type balloons. So the pop wasn't this like high pitched sound. It had a little bit of bass to it. And a couple minutes later, I heard another one, and I reached out to her, or I called out to her. Her door was closed and she didn't respond. And so I, peeked my head in the room and was greeted by the sight of blood. And yeah, anyway, she shot herself. That's the long story short. The first one was a test shot, bullet going through the window just to make sure the gun worked. I guess it was like a little 22. And the next one went right there. And she wasn't immediate, she was still breathing, but she was non-responsive. So of course I get on the phone, I call the police and the ambulance and give them the whole story. And, they show up pretty quick. And first thing the police do is barge in and kind of sweep the area to make sure that there's no safety threats to the medical professionals. And then they come in, and about a week later, she was on life support for about a week. And so I start rummaging through her stuff because the doctors are saying, oh, this isn't looking good. I found a living will that she had. And they said, it basically said if she was ever on life support that she didn't, and there was no real prospect of recovery, which is what the doctors were telling me, that she wanted to be disconnected. And so that's the decision that we had to make to honor her wishes. And so disconnected. And then I got a call about an hour or two later from the nurse that was tending to her at the time saying it's done. It's a done deal. So that happened. So the birthday connection, that happened about a week before my birthday. at the time. And so every time, that time of the year rolls around, there's some of that in the background, and it kind of puts a damper on the celebrations.
So like how do you like move through that though every year? Like is it getting easier or is it still just so heavy around that time of the year that you're just like you're trying to be, celebrate yourself, but you're just like, how can I?
Yeah. It's not as heavy as it used to be because lots of tears, lots of ways that I've processed that. So I've put some of that in music that I've written and recorded, and those have been good containers for that emotion. And then I listen to that stuff back, and it sometimes helps me purge and get rid of some of those emotions. Again, it's still in there, you know what I mean? Those emotions, but it's the reservoir isn't as full as it was before surrounding that particular situation. And so it's not as heavy as it used to be, but I still feel it, the the something in the background that, oh, this is supposed to be a joyous time, but, and and that's as far as it goes, just but dot dot dot. If I was writing it down, there'd just be the triple dots behind it, and that would be it. So it's not as bad as it used to be, and so I just kind of view it as just another day of the week, and that kind of lines up with my life in general. So I tell this story. A while back, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I'll give you some very explicit details there. I was with my doctor. I was having some low libido issues and just feeling kind of run down and lethargic, putting a lot of hours in the gym, not seeing the results that I was looking for. And she's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should test you for low testosterone. Okay, great. That's a good starting point. So, yeah, testosterone of like an 83-year-old grandma came back on the test results. And okay, well, that explains that. She wanted to put me on hormone replacement therapy. And I'm like, hold fast. Why is the testosterone so low? And that's my problem with Western medicine right now is, there's a symptom and they want to treat it with some sort of pharmaceutical. But I want to get to the root cause. And so I'm asking why? And life stressors and things like that. This is what the doctor's telling me. I'm like, no, we need to dig more. And so anyway, we ended up having this conversation where somehow the subject turned to men lactating and that being a sign of some other hormonal issues. And I'm like, oh, I've actually had that happen to me, the wet spots on the t-shirt, in a non-flattering way. And she goes, oh, okay, well, maybe we need to test for this other thing called prolactin, which is some hormone in your body associated with the endocrine system. And so we tested for that, and the normal range is like 0 to 15 based on whatever unit of measurement they're using. And my level came back at like 1900 or something. It was like 100 times or 1,000 times. Math is hard, but it was way
Yeah.
higher than what it should have been. And she goes, okay, well, that is probably what's at the root of your testosterone issues. Okay, great. I can give you some medicine for that. Okay, why is the prolactin so high, right? I'm still asking why. We finally got to the root. It was a brain tumor. Still the same treatment, though, which is this medicine that I take called cabergoline. And it basically what it does, it's a dopamine agonist, which means, it helps generate the feel good chemicals in your brain. And so I tell this, I kind of frame it as my life sucks so much that I need to take drugs to have fun, pharmaceutical, because there's just not enough of the fun stuff in my life. It's just all routine. It's work, it's taking care of family, it's more work, it's dealing with problems and crises that happen in the household. And like, there's not enough, hey, let's go out and, do cool things with cool people and have a good time. And so now I have to take a little pill to simulate that feeling of dopamine, because dopamine is the one thing that supposedly fights and helps shrink this particular tumor that I have. It's on the pituitary gland, and I can't get into all the medical specifics because that stuff just flies over my head. But long story short, dopamine is what helps that out. So the birthday thing, bringing it back full circle, is kind of just on brand for my life. It's already just ho hum, and so the birthday is just another flavor of that. But I'm working on it. I don't want to sound defeatist. I'm working on it. I'm actually making some major changes this year, or at least trying to get outside of my own box and break the matrix a little bit. And I'm not sure what my life is going to look like when the dust settles, but hopefully it's going to look a little bit different than it does right now. We ready to pivot?
Well, Okay, so you were saying, like you life is so routine and you like don't have fun. Like there's nothing like to look forward to because it's just responsibilities, all the roles. And it's just so funny that like you say that because the first module in Do Your Better Baddie is all about self-awareness. But like one of the things is like, and I think you would appreciate this, like we always like just have these labels and like these roles that we have within our lives, and we kind of let that define us. And when we do that, we prevent ourselves from being able to like explore other things. So like the beginning of my kid's senior year this year, like I literally had like a meltdown. I was like, why am I crying? Like I'm not this mom. But I had a meltdown because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Like literally everything
Mm.
I do is this kid, which is why like after like I had my meltdown for like a whole day, that was annoying. Then I went to think about like, okay, what the hell do I want to do? And I think that's when I kind of started HBIC, but I still hadn't like really like fully committed to like moving back into that coaching space again because like I had burned it to the ground earlier the year for reasons. Um but like then I was like, I want to play an instrument. Like I want to be like a sexy instrument playing bitch because I can't sing. So like I might as well like do something. Um so I bought the bass guitar like literally like a week later, and like I had talked to my kid about it and she was like, I want a keyboard. And here's the thing. She's always been asking for this keyboard, but then something else came up that she would rather have. So I was like, okay, well like love you so much, but like you're spoiled, but you're not that spoiled. Like I can't drop this kind of money like for you every single holiday, no reason, whatever exists. So like we're in September, so I'm like, Christmas, dude. Like I'll get it for you for Christmas, but like I'm not getting this today. Like today is about mommy. Okay. This moment is about me. And so like I spent a little bit more time like at the end of last year because like I had a bunch of health stuff. And so like literally up until September, like my life was a nonstop like doctor's office, hospital visit situation. But I spent so much time like trying to take my joy back. And so I always think that it's important when like we get stuck in these cycles to like figure out like, okay, let me take a step back. Where can I incorporate any type of joy? Because if you're just living in a routine, you're not living.
All right, sorry. Go ahead. Did I just
I can't hear
backdoor
you. Oh,
check?
there you go.
Did I just backdoor my way into some free coaching? Just a quick little question here, because it sounds like that's where this is going, which I'm all for.
So
This is like a little preview trailer for you. You can actually like cut a little snippet of this, and like this is what HBIC coaching is all about right here, taking your joy back.
I mean, everything that I do, like I try not to like approach every situation and like coach people because that's just kind of like gross. Like they didn't necessarily ask me, but it just always like makes me think like, babe, don't do that. Don't do that. And it brings out the HBIC in me. It brings out the goddess in me, and it's like, no, stop talking to my friend like that. Stop doing that. I can't accept these behaviors. So like, I mean, it's funny that you say that because like one of the things that actually like a client had mentioned to me was like, you should do like live coaching, on the podcast. And I was like, that sounds like the most amazing thing in the entire world. But it's also like everybody's not going to be comfortable like getting like to the root cause. So another thing that I could do with Riverside is like I can do it live, and so I can have people in the audience and like they can ask questions and I can answer them. Because as much as I think that people love me, I'm not really sure they want to listen to me talk for 30-45 minutes by myself. Um, that could be interesting,
I
definitely.
like that.
But it's also like I want the podcast to be like some sort of interactive aspect in any situation. So like when I'm like having guests or whatever, it's always just kind of like depending on the guest, like there's different things that like I can highlight. And with you, like you're the perfect blueprint of like a client because like you're ready and like you just are like, I'm here, but I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly. That sums it up perfect. That's it.
And it's so hard because like the reason why I got back into this or I guess just in general, like I got into it because like back in like 20 was like one of like the pivotal turning points of like me really like being like, okay, I'm done just being somebody's wife and mom. Like I need to be myself. And so like I started blogging about like my journey, like my sexcapades, my mental health, like how I dealt with that, like the music that brought me joy. And like it was great. Like people loved it. They resonated with it. And my whole thing was always, it's not necessarily like telling people what to do. It's just like, hey, this is what's happening to me. Don't feel like you're alone. Like it's happening to other people. And this is what I tried. It might not work for you, but you know what we can do? We can tweak and we can do different things. So that like led into like entering the coaching because I was like, how can I do this in like a bigger capacity and like actually like really connect with people? And so like this is my third time as a coach. The first time, health reasons. The second time, I was pissed at like the whole coaching industry. And I was just so mad because I was like, this is making my life so freaking difficult right now because these people are out here shaming other people because they can't pay their prices and they're shaming people for like not wanting to do that. And I was like, this is literally the grossest thing that I've ever done. I don't want to be a part of this. But then like later last year, like the stuff with my kid and everything. And I was like, no, no, no. I was like, because I am better than this. I was like, I am better than this ideal of like shaming people. And it was very like, how much do I want to charge for this? And so like things started coming up for me. And I was like, dude, I can't charge this much. I can't charge that much. And then I had all my bitches like, you're worth this. And I was like, but do I deserve money? And they're like, yes. And so like I had to work through those issues. So I am constantly like working through different things and things that even that like I've healed from and do things. I have so much experience like just in life and wisdom that it's just like almost any problem someone comes to me with, I have like some advice. Like I have something that I could tell them to like support them. And even if like it doesn't work, I'm here. I will validate your feelings. I will not make you feel like you're insane. Like I'm not going to gaslight you into thinking that you're always like the problem. You probably are not always the problem. Like more than likely like your circumstances are the problem and you're just reacting accordingly. But like I finally like got to a point where I was like, okay, this is how much I'm going to charge because that just feels aligned. But then I don't know what happened, but that's when the membership came to mind and I was like, okay, I can afford a lot of things. And so in my brain, I'm thinking as myself, like what could I afford on a day-to-day basis? But I was like, let's not assume that everybody can do the same thing. And that's why I made the membership $7 and just gave like the full New Year Better Baddie course to those people because why the hell not? I that gives me like the ability to one get paid for like my time and my energy that I put into making these resources for people and connecting with these people, but also it's going to allow me to touch a lot more people than say like if I created a program that costs $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like in my brain, I'm not thinking that at some point there might not be something that like is worth $3,000 that I would charge for. But as of right now, like I don't have that. I don't have that to give to anybody. So I don't have any offers that are worth $3,000. And that feels aligned with me and that feels an integrity. And so there's been a lot of like discourse around like me specifically with people and like charging for like doing this and stuff and it's like bringing up a lot of negative things from like my life, just me never thinking that I deserve happiness or to do what I want, to do what I love. And so like literally that's all been this month, like these past 3 weeks, like all of that shit is coming up
It's
for me.
coming
And
up.
so I'm just like, I've got like my friends are like, you are a bad bitch. And I was like, I know, but
So are you coaching yourself through these things that are coming up?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Are you
everything
paying
that like,
yourself $7 a month to coach yourself?
no, I wish I could pay
I,
myself $7 a month.
I like the humble brag, by the way. Like, oh, I can afford a lot, but I don't know if all these other peasants can afford what I can afford. So we're gonna have to lower
Well,
the price a
okay,
little bit.
listen, it's not, I can't afford like $100 membership. Like, don't get me wrong, but like if there's like a $30 membership or whatever, like that's not going to put me in a position to where like I can't pay rent or I can't get food. but somebody else, that could possibly mean that like they don't eat that week. And
Yeah.
no, there's no, like, I would rather help you for free before like I put you in a situation, because the work that I'm trying to help people do, they can't do that if they're stressed out. Like, they're already stressed out. I'm not trying to add another stressor to that.
Hmm.
That's not my goal. And also, like, I'm really like okay with being able to source different things. Like, how can we make this work for you? How can we find this money if you really want to do that? But like at the same time, like, I'm still going to give them something. I'm not going to just be like, "Oh, well, you can't talk about any of the things that I do because you're not in the membership." I don't know. It just feels gross, and other people can tell me it's a bad business decision, but you know what? At the end of the day, like, when HBIC is like this billion-dollar company, and like I'm just spreading all of this love and joy, and like the revolution has started, and like the government is mad at me because they're like, "How dare you make everybody love themselves?"
Yes.
Um I'm going to
Love it.
know that I did that without manipulating and taking advantage of people, and I will be able to put that money back into things. Like, I'll be able to build support systems for people. Like, I'll be able to pay, therapists to have like within the area to like work through things that they may also need to be working on as they're working on their future goals. So like I have a huge ass vision for this, and like I see it and I see the success of it, but right now my ego's getting in the way. And I'm just like, yeah, like the other day I was like, okay, I just had to HBIC myself, you guys, because I'm not on my bullshit right now and it's annoying. I can't. I don't like living in my sadness. Like I even, and so like when I tell people, I was like, okay, we can go there, we can visit, we're not going to bring bags, we're not going to bring luggage. We're just going to chill out,
Short stay.
feel the
Short
feelings.
stay.
We got to go though. We can't live there. But I think like for me, what I was told a lot was like to just push through. And I'm like, first of all, first of all, that no. And that's what I did. And doing that, I would explode. Like I would just have a complete
It doesn't
another,
work. It doesn't work.
like, crying in the corner, shaking because I didn't emote. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for emoting. Like if you need to take a week, like cool. Depending on what it is, you might need a week. But also, I'm not going to tell people how long is too long. Everybody grieves situations in different ways. So like if you tell me that like you spent like 2 weeks in that dark place, I hear you. Is there a possibility that maybe you could shorten that by a day or 2 days, and like slowly get to a point where like they can self-regulate and feel better a little bit quicker so that they can actually handle the things that they need to handle. But if you need 2 weeks, that's fine. I'm always going to suggest trying to shorten this because I just don't have time. I don't have time anymore to be like completely down.
Yeah.
And
Life's too short too. And you never know what's around the next corner. So I hear you. You don't want to spend too much time wallowing. I want to say a couple of things here. First of all, that was actually an expert pivot. So kudos, because you did exactly what you said you were going to do. That was quality. And then there's a couple threads that I want to pull on in what you just said. Government and marriage. Which one do you want first?
get government and then marriage in the same thought process.
I would ask you that same question because it all came out during your monologue.
Just have a monologue.
I'm gonna go with marriage first because that's the one that popped up first. You said that at some point you had come to this realization that your identity was basically wrapped up in marriage, and I'm paraphrasing here, and then you started making some changes in that area. And what I'm hearing is the marriage, we've talked about this before, but for the sake of the podcast, is the marriage still in the picture? Are you able to
Oh God,
comment on that?
no. I've been divorced since 2014.
And
I
okay, was that because of the way that you were just evolving in some sort of own personal metamorphosis that you were having? Or were there also issues in the relationship itself? And I'm asking because this particular topic is relevant to my life
Okay,
and I
so
want some
it's
more free
twofold.
coaching.
It's
Okay.
no, it's twofold. So God, it's such a long story. I won't do the whole thing, but like basically like he had came home, he was upset and was like, I don't want to be with you anymore because you're sad all the time, you're depressed. Now, mind you, I was diagnosed the year that we got married in 2005 with bipolar, and I was on medication for like maybe 3 months. And then I was off my medication until so I've got bipolar disorder, I have depression, I have anxiety, and I'm unmedicated. I also am having to be a stay-at-home mom, which is not what I want to do. And I'm sure like there's a lot of moms out there who are going to get really mad at me for saying that, but like I'm just not. I love my kid and I loved her, but like I needed a purpose. And I think like staying home all that time and like sacrificing what I wanted to do was just really frustrating. But he came home and basically I was like, okay, let's go to therapy. Let's slow down, like just a heartbeat. We went to therapy and we got to a point where she was like, okay, what do you need from him? And vice versa. So like my thing, I just needed him to go to a doctor to like make sure his heart was fine. He wanted me to continue therapy on my own and get on medication. So that's what I do. I get on my medication. I go to therapy. Like I'm in therapy like weekly for a couple months. A year later, he still hadn't gone to the doctor. And so at this point, as I'm like, I'm not this person. I don't know that I really love him. I think maybe this was a lot of insecurities that I had at 18, 19 years old. And so at about a year after that point, it's very much like I'm kind of just mourning the relationship. Like I'm just living in it, trying to see if like maybe a little bit more time. But at that point, it was just like, I don't think this is going to continue. And then like something came up where like all of a sudden he was very adamant that he had only ever wanted one kid and that like he said that from the beginning. And I was like, bro, no, you didn't, because I remember everything. I was like, if you had said that, like we wouldn't be a thing. So that also is kind of like another nail in the coffin. So 2-year mark, I'm in therapy. I know what I want. I want to be happy. I realize that he does not make me happy. He is not making me happy. And he is not going to put any effort into the relationship. Say I want a divorce. And his response, it kills me every single time I tell someone this. I feel like you just went to therapy and got all happy and didn't want to be with me anymore. That's exactly what happened because you wanted me.
How about that?
If you would have just let me be depressed, maybe this wouldn't be happening. But like, I'm glad that it went down that way. Like, I mean, like he wasn't a terrible person. He's an incredibly immature person. So like that was always really hard because like I felt like I was parenting a grown person and our child. Like I didn't have the support. I was like the parent and I was tired of it. And so like the separation happened and obviously because I got married so young, like I didn't get to go and like sow my oats and do all these things. So like I was ready for like a bunch of non-commitment situations and that was the funnest 2 years of my life. But eventually like I just got tired of it and I was like, okay, I'm done. I was like, I'm too old for this nonsense and I need a partner and I need someone who's going to help me, support raise my child. So
So
yeah.
is he in the picture as a co-parent?
I'm sorry, what?
Wait, am I touching on the sore spot here?
He does not live anywhere nearby because of his job. I won't dox him, but
We've done enough of that today already.
the nature of his job, he can't be like where we are. So co-parenting is a very difficult process when you're not even in the same city, much less not even the same state. It's been a very difficult time with it a lot of times, but love his wife. She's great. She's definitely supported and helped out with like some things when we were trying to figure out what's going on with the kid, but I very much so do like all of the parenting. I'm the one taking off work to take her to a doctor's appointment. I'm the one like she passed out and I'm the one having a complete meltdown because I don't know what the fuck is happening and I'm terrified calling that. And then but it's always been that way. Partially because of the job that he holds. And the other part is because he just wasn't mature enough for being a parent at the time. So I'm not saying that he's not a part of her life, because that would be wrong. That's incorrect. But like majority of her upbringing and raising was done pretty much by me, which is why I am the trusted adult, and it is really, really stressful some days, because I'm like, bro, can you not tell me those things? I don't want to know.
It's a heavy burden to carry for sure. Would you get married again?
Yes,
Would you have your views on marriage changed at all?
a lot.
Okay. So what would you do differently the next round, knowing what you know now?
A prenup is definitely like something that I think is important to protect both people, because in this divorce, I was screwed financially. Wasn't like trying to steal all of his money or anything, but like for the first 7 years of our relationship, I didn't work. I didn't have a job. So like when I'm leaving this marriage, like I don't have retirement, I don't have anything to my name, because I had to stay home because of his job. Saddled with a whole lot of shit, and it just, I was like, no. I was like, I'm protecting myself. I was like, and I'm going to protect my partner, because it's not fair for them to also be like saddled with things that may not have been theirs. Also, I don't really, I'm not big on like sharing a bank account like for everything. Like I literally like, because please, you don't need to know what I spent at Ulta today. Like that's unnecessary. um and then, but like we split, we'd split the bills, and like that's it. And also, I am, here's another idea for all of you people out there. God, I hope, your partners don't send me hate mail for this. But I don't believe in splitting 50. I believe splitting based on your income that you bring in the house and a percentage of that. Because say like my partner's making $100,000 and I'm barely making 20, like
Yeah,
I
50-50
can't
doesn't make sense. Right. Yeah.
I can't afford half.
But and at the same time, the expenses should be low enough that you wouldn't even need to split 50. Like if there's that big of a disparity, he's 100, you're 20, then you guys should be living well below the means of the 100, not the, I'm a bit of a traditionalist, in that situation. I'll cover everything, and my money is our money and your money is your money, and we could just work it like that. I don't need the split. I like the provider title. It makes me
Well,
feel good.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't necessarily think that like that is something that I would be against in, a capacity. I just know what it's like to have the fact that like I'm not providing a certain amount of money makes me less than in the relationship. And
That's
I'm
how
just
you
not
feel.
what,
That's how you feel, like because you're not contributing something financially, then you're
yeah,
not bringing enough to the table.
yeah.
That's interesting.
So because I want I'm equal to my partner, because the thing is that your partners, your team, there's things one person's good at and there's things one person's not good at. Like I can use a drill, probably should not let me use the drill. Like I'll figure it out, and the really big deal.
Then you'll have a
I
mental
don't
breakdown right afterwards, right?
I will, cuz I get so frustrated, cuz my hands shake, and like I can't, and like I mark the wall and then I mark it again and then I look at the level. I'm like, fuck, it's still not level. Like I thought we fixed it.
Yeah,
And it's a
right.
whole thing. So it's just like, get
Bubble is
somebody
just
else to
all
do
over
it.
the place. I hear you.
Yeah. And like I can change the oil in my own car. But no, no.
I think the way that I look at it, in terms of okay, equality and contributions and what everyone brings to the table, and I'll probably get some hate mail for this, so we can just like forward each other the hate mail that we get and have a good laugh about it all. But I think in a traditional, relationship, and I know we're in a different world and the landscape is changing and men are women and women are frogs and everything is just different now. But in a traditional relationship, which is, that's the space I like to operate in, where the guy's the provider, the woman is bringing something else to the table that is of equal or even better value. She's bringing her nurturing side. She's bringing her even some of the strategic side that, sometimes men get very like, tunnel vision and women can maintain the, don't do it. Let's not go into a men bashing session. Okay. Just bear with me. And women can keep the bigger picture. They can maintain the bigger picture, and they can help the man avoid the landmines and help steer him in the right direction. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is a good woman can help a man multiply whatever he's doing on the financial side of the house and bring more money back in. And so, yeah, maybe she's not directly contributing financially, but because of her influence and because of the support that she provides, the household account as a whole is multiplying. And I see that as part of the now, and that's not to say women can't go out and be bosses and be entrepreneurs and do, like, if that's your thing, cool, do that. But me personally, I don't view a woman who is not contributing financially as someone who is not contributing equally to the relationship. That doesn't even factor in for me. It's like, okay, I'll take care of the money. Can you help take care of me? Because I need a lot of help in that area, boy. And if you can help steer me in the right direction and help manage me so that I can perform at my highest level, then the money's never going to be an issue. And we can set some money aside for you so you have your little, like, your go bag ready with a couple stacks in there just in case you need to flee the relationship for whatever reason, because I know that's important too. Some women, they don't want to feel like they are investing so much in the relationship and in their partner, and they're doing the stay-at-home thing, and they're not able to stack any money of their own, because sometimes shit happens and the relationship frays and dissolves, and the woman doesn't want to be in a position where she's the one left holding the bag. And so I would love to be at a point, and I'm not there yet, but I'd love to be at a point where I can pay my woman a salary just for existing, just being in the, and that's your money. It's not, it's not bill money. It's not, you have to contribute anything to the household expenses or anything like that. It's just your money, stack it, save it, spend it on Alta, do whatever you need to do with it. But ideally, you'd keep a little bit nested aside, and you'd grow that nest egg so that in the unfortunate situation where things go left, you're not left holding that bag.
So,
Bring on the
okay.
hate mail.
Okay, but here's the thing. What I'm hearing is, like, you keep saying, like, that you want things to be traditional, but literally none of that is traditional. Like, based on what most people see as traditional, the man brings in the income and he supports, the wife stays home and does all the household, and the wife just occasionally gets money. But you're literally like, no, I'm going to give you money in case you need to get out. Like, you are making sure not only that, like, the household is financially taken care of, but you're making sure that since she does not have any income coming in, you're making sure, like, she's not going to get screwed if something were to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're making sure that the whole relationship is taken care of. And a lot of times that's the part that's missing. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and you can go buy this, but then there's, like, questions, there's answers, there's all of this. So yeah, that's not
It's traditional with a twist. It's progressive, but in a different way. It's not 50-50 progressive.
So I guess another question. So if she wants to work, if she wants to, like, run a business, and, like, she does that, like, are you saying that, like, that's not something you would be okay with, or you're just like, if she makes her own money, like, it's not my money?
Yeah, that's totally fine. She can do whatever the hell she wants to do. Go be a billionaire and save the world, and then get in the scope of the government. Snipers on the roof, all that, trying to take her out because she's creating so much change.
Are you flirting with me, Drew? You're flirting with me. You stop that.
Yeah, no, she can do whatever she wants, do her thing. Freedom for me is probably the highest value at this point. I'm just saying, I, as a man, and just me prefacing my statement with that, is going to draw some ire, but I, as a man, don't want to have to rely on my woman to help make the overhead of our household expenses. I want to just be able to cover it all. And then whatever she's got going on, that's her money. And that's completely okay with me.
I mean, I am so not interested in, like, gender roles at this point in my life, that, like, I think that's why I think the way that I do. I don't necessarily think that like there's a problem with people who like associate and feel that way. It only becomes a problem when it's harming other people, because there's nothing wrong with you wanting to feel that way. Now, I will say that something for me that I've struggled with, because I've always like moved within my masculine, is like I don't allow myself to live in the feminine, and I don't allow myself to like just be and not like make strategic plans, fill out all the paperwork and argue with the guy at the dealership who's like, should we get the lady a automatic? The lady can drive a stick shift. You calm down, man. But like I have always had to be the one who's taking care of everything. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. Like and like this is something funny, and like people think I'm joking. I want to be a trophy wife. Please let me be a trophy wife so I can do what I want to do. Like, let me just be cute and like live in my own little bubble and do whatever I need to do. And like, so that also like comes back to like, do I really like feel the way that I do about like marriage and relationships? I do. But like also please take care of me, because I'm tired of taking care of me. I am exhausted. Okay.
Yep.
I have taken care of a whole ass other human, for 18 years. And I am like, and then I'm taking care of myself, and I was taking care of other people. And I was like, when is somebody going to take care of me? I don't feel good. Somebody bring me my water. Like asking my kid the other day to bring me a drink was like, you would think that I asked her to clean the kitchen. Ma'am, just can you please just fill up my cup, because I can't walk down the stairs because I have tremors and I would like to not fall down the stairs today. But whatever, it's fine. I'll just dehydrate and die. Yes, I'm dramatic.
Or crack your neck on the stairs. Either way you die.
So fun. So fun.
So yeah, so it's interesting because I've heard that same sentiment from a number of like self-made, women who have had to take care of business and manage households on their own for the most part, and live in what we call the masculine energy. And deep down, and this doesn't apply to every woman, and nor does my statement about wanting to be the man and be the provider. They have the wherewithal to make their own decisions and follow the paths that are best for them. But I've heard that same thing a number of times from women who are doing it all. Like, I wish I could just set it down and let somebody else take care of things, and just be taken care of for a while, and not have to worry about all the logistics and the art haggling at the car dealership. And like, oh my god. And they look at you as a mark as soon as you walk in the door too. Same thing with mechanics, right? You going for an oil change and they're like, oh, your serpentine belt needs to be replaced too, and your transmission's about to go bad, so we need to do a $3,000 engine job. And you're like, I just wanted some conventional oil, and here I am getting stuck with a $5,000 car bill. What's going on? Just because you're walking in the door as a woman. And so I get that. And sometimes it's nice just to like outsource some of that stuff to other people and not have to worry about it, so you can be a little bit more creative and get in your soft girl era and do what you need to do there. I'm all about the soft girl era. Like, I am all for the soft girl era. And I love a feminine woman. And so, man, I'm gonna get in so much trouble from that. But like if I can keep you out of the masculine as much as possible by taking care of all the dude stuff that needs to be handled, and you can just frolic in fields and play with daisies and summon butterflies to your fingertips, paint rainbows in the sky. That's I love that. I love that.
But see, I think the problem when people hear that is like they feel like there's a sense of control there. But based on like what you've been saying, it doesn't sound like you're interested in controlling. You're interested in emotionally and mentally supporting your partner in a way that nurtures them and takes some of the worry off of them, especially from a financial aspect. And I mean, we're tired. Like like we do emotional labor for everyone and everything. And like the other thing, like with me with mechanics, oh God, so my stepdad was very like, I need you to know how to take care of yourself in case there's not a man in your life, which great. Like, I think that's important. I think everybody needs to know how to take care of themselves in case there's not another person in their life to be able to do it. just because I know how doesn't mean I feel like doing it. But also, when
Facts.
I walk into a dealership or someplace and they're just like, do you think that? No, no. I was like, I know my car. That is not a necessary maintenance. That's unnecessary. I was like, she's fine. I actually had the guy the last time talk to me about getting my oil changed, like before like the mileage on the sticker, because he's like, when the light comes on, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need an oil change. It because we don't know how many miles it's done. And I was like, I don't drive enough, first of all, to even be bothered. But second of all, my car is set up to where every 5,000 miles, the stupid oil change light will come on and be like, we're getting close, babe. We need to go. But he was like, you're wasting money.
I like that your car calls you babe. You have a good relationship with your car.
Please don't embarrass yourself, babe. It's my money to waste. Mind your fucking business. Dude, I love my car. Like, I drive it like a race car. She is not a race car. My child's like, why do you drive like a race car? I get it from my dad. Okay. This is how I learned how to drive. And I was like, but she can get there. It takes her a little bit. There's a lot of revving, in the beginning. And I'm just like, it's okay, baby, we can do it. And then she gets there. And like, people are just not. I drive a mom car. I drive a Honda CRV. Like, it's brown. It's a mom
You
car.
drive it like a race car.
But you will see me out here blaring music like Move Bitch from Ludacris on the highway. Like, I think you guys underestimate the ability of me to move fast in this car. Please don't do that. I also have really great brakes. But it's just, I know enough about cars for somebody to not be convinced of like something needing to be done. Also, it's funny because every time like the dealership, they were like, didn't this light come on? No. So until that light comes on, I'm not doing it. Thank you though.
And even when it does, that's just the warning sign. That's not we got to drop everything and tend to it. Check engine light, no big deal. No big deal. Engine's fine.
I cannot have lights on in my car. It gives me such anxiety. Like, I try to get gas before like I ever get to that point, but lazy. And obviously I don't leave the house often. And then the gas light comes on. There's like 15 gas stations on the simple drive from like my child's job to home. Like, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm like, it's like, we have to get to a gas station now. We're gonna run out of gas. So yeah, no. Please take my car to the gas station and put gas in it. Please go do that because I don't feel like it. I'll do it, but I don't feel like it.
Yep. And funny that you mentioned that. That's one of the things that I do. It's like, no, you never have to fill the truck up. I got it. It's her truck, but I fill it up every time. It's just one of the things. And I'm the exact opposite of you. The way my ADHD is set up, I can't put gas in the car until the gas light comes on. And even then, it's like, okay, let's look at the range. How many more miles do we have? Because the gas light comes on at like around 40 in my car. And I'm like, we could probably get there and back and still not have to fill up yet. One time I got nervous because it got down to the point where the range number just went away altogether. And they were just like 2 lines. It was just dash, dash. I'm like, okay, maybe we should get to a gas station now. And the gas station is like 5 miles up the road. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little sketchy. But usually I get there with like 5 or 10 miles left on the range. And even then it gets tricky because, I'm looking at, okay, it says 5 miles left, but I just drove a mile and now it says 3 left. And so the math ain't math in here either.
Well, do you have like the air conditioning on, the heat on, like other, yeah. So like other things
are the windows up or down? Is it getting maximum aerodynamics or not? Yep. Yeah, I factor all that in. But yeah, I'm the exact opposite. Like, put all the lights on and then we'll start, addressing them one by one. So, all right. So you left the marriage because you got happy and he didn't like you being happy and he wasn't contributing. What would you say to someone who has a partner that is objectively doing everything right? Like, there's no issues with the relationship itself, but that person, however, is growing in a direction that doesn't necessarily coincide with what is considered appropriate for a relationship. And I can
So-
flesh that out with specifics if you need that to answer the question.
I was going to ask follow-up questions. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the person is doing everything right in the relationship, but they're growing in a capacity that is not conducive to be in a relationship or for that particular relationship.
The container of the relationship has become stifling. And so this person, this person being all hypothetical and shit, let's just say this person has realized they got married young, right? And had kids young and didn't have the wild oats phase, similar to what you mentioned. But that's not even necessarily the issue. This person has just, as they've grown, has realized more of what they want out of life, what they want out of relationships, and has realized that their current situation is very far from what their idealized relationship would look like. So, for example, if I were to like start dating now, like let's say I'm single, I'm not married. If this person were to start dating now, I'm single, I'm not married, I don't have a partner, and I was starting to court, women and going through that whole dance and, eventually with the goal of becoming partnered up, I probably wouldn't want to live in the same house as that person. We'd maintain separate residences. It would probably be some sort of like open relationship, poly type situation. And freedom would be the North Star for me. So always, everything comes back to freedom. Not just freedom to be with other people, but just complete social freedom altogether. Like, okay, I want to have women friends that I can go to dinner with, and it can be completely platonic, but it's somebody that I might spend 4 or 5 hours a night talking on the phone with. That's not my partner, and that's not going to happen every night, but maybe it happens once a week, 2-3 times a week, just because I have a close friendship with this person, and that not be a problem just because it looks bad, quote unquote. I want to be able to just come and go as I please without having to check in and say, okay, I'm going to go spend, a few hours with this person at this place, and, everything's all good, and I'll be back at such and such time. I don't want to have to do any of that shit. I want to just be able to do my thing and not have to worry about others feeling upset about that. But that's not what would be considered appropriate for a conventional relationship. You gotta give the whereabouts, you gotta give the who, what, why, and the whens. And heaven forbid you make a new friend of the opposite sex during the course of the relationship. And okay, why are you guys exchanging contact information? Let's say it's not a professional contact, it's just a casual social contact. Well, why you need to be talking to other bitches for? I'm not enough. And it creates this whole issue. And I personally could go several days a week without seeing my partner and be completely fine. And then we get together. For me, it's about the quality of the time, not the quantity. But in a conventional marriage, conventional relationship, you're basically joined at the hip, and you're doing all this domestic shit, grocery store runs and all this other stuff. And it's a bunch of low quality time that's being spent often. And then you have moments, and it's cool. Okay, let's do our little date night thing, and we'll go out and keep it fresh and keep it cute and keep the spark alive and all of that. But maybe we can do the absence makes the heart grow fonder thing a little bit. So yeah, let's maintain different residences, and you have your own life and I have my own life, and we get together and we dance and we commingle and do our thing for a little while, and then we go back to our own lives. What would you say to that person?
There's so much that I have to say right now. Okay. So first of all, we already know how much like I hate the idea of like what society says that a relationship is supposed to look like. I have been traditionally like monogamous, but it's not that I wouldn't choose to not be. It's just that's just kind of how like the chips fell. That's what it was. I mean, like there are times where I'd be like, I just want to be a throuple. So like I don't have to commit to like one person. Like I have two people. And so like if I don't like the other person today, then like I can have this other person that I like, whatever. But like if what you're wanting in a relationship has shifted and the conversation has already been had with the current partner, and it's realizing like, okay, this is not going to work
Several
because
conversations.
they don't want the same things. And it's never like an easy thing to decide to like end a relationship, especially one that like has emotional ties, like with kids and like just a lifelong, journey.
Finances, paperwork, everything.
um So when it comes to like deciding to walk away, like I don't think people are selfish enough in their relationships. Like there's like a level of selfish that is actually healthy. There is like so much selfishness to where like you're alienating your partner, but we're not going to get into that right now. But like people often, a lot of things, they stay for the kids. They stay because it's just easier. Um, but what ends up happening is that you're just fucking miserable all the time because your needs are not being met within that relationship. And I don't think that you should be in any type of relationship, platonic or otherwise, if it is not serving you, if it's not making you feel good, if it's not making you a better person, like if it's just draining you, you need to sit with that and really make a decision. One thing that I love to say to people all the time is only you can figure out how much you're willing to put up with. And once you figure out what your limit is, what you're willing to put up with, what you're willing to settle for, what, your hard no's are, that will help guide you to make the decision that you need on whether it's to leave or not. I mean, people think that like when I asked for the divorce that it was like such an easy decision. I mulled over that choice over 2 years. Like
Mm-hmm.
2 years before I came to it. And so, yeah, when I said it, I wasn't as upset as one would think, but that's because I just spent the past 2 years mourning my relationship. Like I'm over it now. Like I'm tired. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. It's not serving me. It's just making me miserable. And I got enough things in my brain that make me miserable without having to try. Um, but yeah, I mean, really the biggest thing in relationships and any advice that I ever give anybody, you are the only one who can decide how much you're willing to put up with.
Yeah, I think the problem for me, for that person, is there's a people pleasing element, and we're working on that. We're working on the people pleasing, but there's some guilt because the other person hasn't done anything wrong. It's easy to walk away from a situation where you feel wrong, but in this case, it's just about personal evolution and drifting in a different direction than the one that you initially set out on. And that's because of no fault of the other person. And so it's like, how do you create this emotional carnage that is going to follow when you drop that nuke? And there's going to be collateral damage with just the household situation. Kids are involved. Thankfully, a little bit older now, so it's different. But how do you grapple with that guilt of knowing that you're going to blow up a situation just because of your own selfish reasons, not because there's any harm that's been done by the other party?
We are like, there is nothing wrong with like worrying about how a decision you make is going to affect another person. Like that just means that you're a human being who gives a shit about other people. And yes, it would be much easier. Like there's a million songs like that I can think of like off the top of my head where one she's like I wish you would have cheated because like that would make it easier to be walking away. But the thing is you have to accept that someone's going to get hurt in this situation, whether it be the other person or whether it be yourself, because you're going to be hurt if you're sitting there staying in the same routine and just slowly dying inside.
Ooh,
And the
boy.
other person is going to get hurt, honestly, regardless, because there's going to start to be some resentment. And so I feel like if you truly care about someone, like you're going to be honest with them and it's not going to be pretty. There's going to be a lot of emotions and it's going to feel like it's all your fault and you did that. But the most important part of all of this is that no matter how that other person feels or reacts, is you do not take ownership for the way that they reacted to that. They are warranted in however they react, and everything that they're feeling is fair. But that is not like you caused the situation, but like it's not your fault that you did that. Does that make sense? Like,
It feels a little semantic-y, but I think I understand at the same time what you're saying. I detonated the bomb, but not with any malicious intent.
Right. Yeah. Like, your intention is not to hurt this person.
Right.
However, at some point we have to choose ourselves. We have to choose ourselves, and especially people pleasers. We are like, no, I'll suck it up. I'll push through. I'll just do it. But it's not, I mean, it's not going to be easy. And that would be unfair to say, like, it's not going to be easy. And obviously there are things that you can do to like feel less guilty. And like try to make sure that this person understands that like this is not their fault,
it's not you, it's
that
me.
sort of thing. But also at the same time, depending on how emotional, how upset this person's going to get, there's really nothing that you're going to be able to say that's going to fix that. And obviously you're going to be hurt because you hurt another person, but still try to remain only feeling what you're feeling and not what they're feeling.
Yeah. So we've definitely had the trailer to the Hurt movie already. Through you talk about making sure that you communicate up front and all. Yeah, several conversations over the course of several years, actually. Just communicating where I'm at, how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what my ideal situation relationship looks like moving forward. Things that just weren't even part of the conversation when I was younger, because it was just everything was about making sure that the kids are taken care of. We had kids young, so making sure that the kids are taken care of, that I'm advancing in my little career or whatever, so that I'm able to provide to the level that I am, keep a roof overhead and keep food on the table. And you talk about emotional labor, the being the sole breadwinner, or being the primary breadwinner, because she kind of weaved in and out of work at her leisure, whenever she wanted to or she needed to. She's got some medical stuff too in the background that sometimes prevented her from being able to work, and it all fell on my shoulders. But that's okay. But there's a certain pressure that's felt, especially without having a safety net. So for me, I have no family. There's nobody that I can call and say, yo, I'm in a bad spot right now, and mom, can I come stay with you for a while, or dad, can I crash at your place for a few months while I get back on my feet. I got friends I could probably couch surf in a best case scenario for a little while, but nothing stable. You know what I mean? That I would have somebody that'd be able to catch me if I fell. So it feels like walking on a tightrope with no safety net below, and an entire whole ass family on your back that you're trying to balance while you're traversing this tightrope. And there's a pressure that comes with that, and there's an emotional labor that comes with that as well, and it's daunting. But we're in a better place now financially, except now. So last time we talked, I told you that I hadn't filed my taxes in a couple years. And I finally sat down and did my 2021 taxes. I still got to do 20, but I got 2021 done. And yeah, your boy owes like $7,000 to the IRS just from 2021. And so I'm afraid of what 2022 and 2023 looks like. But we're gonna have to make some changes there. But anyway, so things aren't as dire as they have been in the past when I was building. I was in that building phase of trying to get to a higher salary in my career and trying to figure that whole ball game out. How do I get to the 6-figure mark? How do I cross that mark and get to a point where we can live a little bit more comfortably? Because for a while we were playing the game of, okay, which bill are we not going to pay this month without having the service disconnected? Is it going to be the Comcast bill? Is it going to be the electric bill? Mortgage always has to get paid. Mortgage never gets deferred. But some of these other ones, we might be able to go a month or two. We don't have to play that game now, thankfully. So in a better place. But while we're in the process of all that, I'm not thinking about, what do I actually want out of life? What do I want out of a relationship? Where do I want to go? What's going to ultimately lead to me feeling like I'm in a position to thrive? It's always been about survival. And now I'm at the place where I'm looking to come out of that survival mode and going to thrive. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifting that takes place as I navigate that. And I want to minimize the hurt as much as possible, but I think it's inevitable. To your point, whether I do or don't pull that trigger, and slowly wither away. And then the person on the other end of that sees that, they feel that shift of energy, they feel that change, they feel the disconnect. And what kind of relationship is that? I've tried to renegotiate the terms, but I don't think that works. When one party is like, "Oh, I'm perfectly happy with the current model," and the other person's like, "Oh, let's open it up. Let's try something new. Let's lower some of the change the rule book a little bit and see how that goes, or just throw the rule book out the window altogether." That's where I'm at. Fuck the rule book, just throw it out altogether. And not just for me, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's not like, I want to have my cake and eat it too, but you can't do whatever like, yeah, go explore, do whatever. But when that person is like, "No, I'm good with the model," and I'm like, I'm not, that's not sustainable, right? And that's ultimately where I'm at with it. And so now it's just a matter of how do I gracefully navigate the situation, knowing the hurt that it's going to cause, knowing the damage, and now we got to figure out logistics, okay? Because I cannot afford 2 residences right now. I can maintain the one that we've got. So it's like, how do we even go about doing this at that point? And if I don't have those options available to me, then now I'm feeling trapped. Now I'm feeling stuck. And what do I do with that energy? So anyway, I didn't mean for this to turn into like a therapy session or a coaching session, but these are just some of the things happening in the background for me right now. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, all right, I need to take a step away from the online stuff, because that's just a fucking distraction. And that's not really helping my mental health at all right now. And it's not helping me figure out some of the bigger issues and changes that I need to affect in my own life to get to that point where I'm not surviving anymore and get to that point of thrive.
So
I'm telling on myself so much here. Jesus Christ.
it,
This was not supposed to go down like this. We were supposed to keep it light and cute.
no, it's fine. It's just like I'm trying to get the right words. Because the thing is like we do things for other people and often forget about ourselves. And then like we get in this situation. But what I wanted to say is like I get that like not having people to rely on. It was 2012 that I wanted the divorce. We didn't officially file until 20, and then April it was done. But we shared a space. Like we lived in the same house for like those 2 years because he couldn't afford to go anywhere. I was making $11 an hour. Like I can't afford rent. So we did. It was not ideal. Was not my favorite thing, but it was what needed to happen. One, for us to get the divorce and me to like be happy, but two, so that like we could get our shit together before like we hit the bullet and we're just like done with it.
But did you call it in 2012, or did you wait until 2014 when you were in a position to actually move on that? Like, did you say, okay, 2012 is here, we're done, we're going to cohabitate, but that's all we're going to do? We're basically going to be roommates. Or did you just kind of keep that on the low and then, slowly work towards, the 2014 exit plan?
Nope, he knew the exit plan. We both agreed that we needed to take care of some joint situations before we filed. He just didn't want it in the paperwork. There's a lot of things he did not want in the paperwork so that he wouldn't be held liable to it. So we took care of a lot of those things. Some things we didn't finish taking care of, but like it just got to a point where I was like, okay, like this has gone on long enough. We filled out the paperwork because I had decided I needed to move home. And so we filled out the paperwork together. We did we dropped it off and we went in and we had like our little interview, and then I got in the mail the divorce decree.
Marriage is the dumbest thing. When I really think about it, and that's not to say relationships, specifically the institution of marriage. And then when you look at the background of it, it was really about like consolidating property and power, political power back in the day. And at some point we turned it into this love thing. When I step back, I'm like, why are we inviting the government into our relationship? Which is like, that's really the entire purpose of marriage. Like we're just making it this bureaucratic thing. And some women, not to say all women, but some women feel that the marriage makes them more secure in the relationship. I guess because it's harder to exit at that point. But that those are just hurdles that get put up. And if the relationship's done, it's done. And there's no amount of government interference or bureaucracy that's gonna change that. But now, if I were to get divorced, I would never get married again. I would have partner or a partners or a partner. I'm not against monogamy either. I value freedom. So that's a different topic. But I would never get married again, just because I don't see the value. There's no upside for guys anyway. Or there's no upside for this guy. I don't want to generalize, but I just don't see the value in inviting the government into the relationship and just making it more difficult to dissolve it. Like, if it's done, it's done. Why do we need to get a judge to sign off on it? Like, what? Who came up with that? That you talk about control. That is control of the highest magnitude, but not even by any individual part. That's the whole government topic. We still need to get into that too. I don't know how much time we have, but we need to talk about the government at some point here, because I've got some things to say there. But anyway, a little tangent.
It's funny that you say that. My ex-husband, when we got divorced, he said the same thing. He said he would never get married ever again. So when I had to sign a piece of paper and I saw this woman's name, I'm like, who is this person? He was like, my future wife. Like, I literally thought he was kidding, because like when we got divorced, he was like, I'm never getting married again. I'm not doing it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, bro, whatever. So like when he said he was getting married, I was like, okay. But like, so my thoughts on marriage afterwards were kind of like, I don't need a piece of paper to have like this lifelong commitment. I really don't want the government in my business any more than they already are. Sometimes, like, it's very hard for people to understand. It's not for me, it's not a security thing necessarily, because I can get all these I can still get legal documents to protect myself within this relationship. Some states you can get a domestic partnership. Like, there's many things. A lot of times what it comes down to is I need health insurance, and I can't afford the health insurance that I can get as a self-employed person. And not every company recognizes domestic partnerships.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that may sound like I'm using a human being, but like, I'm not. Like, it's literally because at some point I won't want to have my full-time job because I'll want to be coaching full-time, but I need health insurance because my health is like, hey girl, we need to take care of ourselves. Um, it's it's just not. But it's also why, like, if I'm going to enter into a marriage again, that's why I would want the prenuptial agreement to make it very simple and plain. Like, if we're done, like, there's no arguments to be had. There's nothing that can be there's nothing that like you could say or I could say, because when we liked each other, we came up with this prenup so we don't screw each other when we don't like each other. Yeah, so it's just things shift and things change, and I don't think there's anything wrong with marriage. Um, I love the idea of love, but I
For
don't
sure.
like the idea that the only way to be in a committed relationship is to get a piece of paper from the government saying that you're married. Like, bro, you already know my social security number. Like, why do you need to be in more of my business? Can you not? Can you just leave me alone? Um,
It's part of the
but yeah,
programming.
no. So that's interesting. That's my last piece on that.
Yeah, marriage is a social construct as far as I'm concerned, just like time. It's part of the programming. You as you grow up, especially women, God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble with these generalizations, but you watch all these like Cinderella stories and all the romance cartoons and things like that, where that's the end goal is marriage happily ever after. And that's where people, as kids, they get their entire worldview from the media that they're shown, and of course from the influences around them as well. And so it just becomes this automatic thing that this is what you're supposed to do, just like you're supposed to go to school and then supposed to go to college afterwards. And even that's starting to shift now, but for the longest time that was the path that was sold to people, and that was reinforced through media and movies and everything else. And so that's just what okay, that's just what people that's what they knew because that's what they were fed. And I feel like it's the same thing with marriage. And people, just because we're so busy with life, we never take the time to step back and question these institutions and question these paths that are laid out before us. Is okay, let's school, let's marry, let's family, let's retire, and then, you know, happily ever after for the 10 or 12 functional years you have after retirement before you kick the bucket. And then the next generation after you does the exact same thing, and it just goes on in a perpetuity. And I just wonder, like, who does that serve? You know, who do these structures serve? Because in many cases people just go with the flow. But like in my case, for example, if I never encountered certain people that quote unquote helped me wake up and live a little bit more mindfully, I would just be doing the exact same thing and not ultimately, like, I feel like now I'm on the path to realizing my highest potential. And we got a whole fuckload of work to do there because the vision that I have is so much bigger than the life that I'm living right now. But I know that had I never started asking these questions, had I never taken a pause to just look and at the direction that I was going and see if that aligns with the direction that I want to go or what I'm capable of achieving, if I never did those things, then I would just be another person going along with the programming and modeling that behavior for my kids. And then they would likely follow suit and do the exact same thing. It reminds me very much of the movie The Matrix, which is something that I reference a lot when I talk to people. Not sure if you've seen that movie. I don't want to make any assumptions. But in The Matrix, it really likens people and the society and the infrastructure of society and the social infrastructure in particular as ways to convert people into batteries to keep the machine going. And that's very much how I feel about a lot of the social constructs that we live within, marriage being one of them, but so many others as well. Employment, you know, doing all of this from grade kindergarten to grade 12 and even into college, just so you can become an employee to support someone else's business or to keep just maintain and be another cog in the machine in a way that, okay, you get your little breadcrumbs and you've got food and water and you've got some circus to keep you entertained, and that's nice. People get all wrapped around the axle about the Super Bowl, and it's funny listening to people talk about their favorite teams when they're like, yeah, you know, we're going to the Super Bowl. Like, they identify themselves as part of the team. It's not, oh yeah, the Chiefs are going to the, no, we are the Chiefs and we're going to the Super. And I just think that's the silliest thing. It's so funny because, you know, Travis Kelce could give a fuck about you. He doesn't even know your name, but, you know, in your mind, you're, you know, the 11th man on the field or whatever, you know, however they could, 11th man on the team, however they phrase it. And so even that, you know, social construct, and that goes back to like the Roman Colosseum days to keep people distracted from all the things that the empire was doing. And probably even before that, it's just funny when you take a step back and look at society and you start to see it for what it really is, as a way to, and I'm going into conspiracy theorist territory now, but, you know, as a way to keep people docile and controlled so that the machine itself can continue operating and feeding off of the life force of the people within it, and keep us so distracted with things like, you know, paying our taxes and crunching the numbers and, oh, I got to get this divorce lawyer now, and that sucks up a whole bunch of energy and stuff. And it keeps people operating in this limited headspace, not realizing that, okay, individually we have so much potential, unrealized, untapped potential, that if we could just focus on our own growth, we could accomplish some pretty amazing things. But if each person did that, and then collectively we did that as well, the world would look like such a different place than it does right now. Like, we're always in these perpetual wars, and there's always these big disparity between people living on the mountaintop in the castle versus the peasants living in the villages with a whole bunch of sickness and poverty and everything else going on. Like, why does it have to be that, when we could be living in a world where everybody is thriving? But we're not, because we're giving all of our energy away to the machine, and the machine is well oiled and it's functional. But the people, there's so many people that are not living their best lives right now. And that just makes me sad. And so I for one, want to break outside of that construct and live my best life so that I can show others that it's possible, especially my kids, because I see it happening now. You know, my oldest son, he's 20. Okay, he's got a car loan now. Great. It's starting. It's already starting. He's got his new vehicle. He's got his financial obligation. He's got his promissory note. Now he is part of the system. And what's going to happen next? He's going to get his little apartment and he's going to have a lease, or, you know, maybe even gets a mortgage or something. But he's already going down that road. He's an employee and he's making his weekly paycheck or his biweekly paycheck. And he's getting just enough to feed himself and pay for some entertainment, and that's where his attention and where his focus is. But he's got the potential to be so much more. But he's watching dad, and dad is living that lifestyle, and dad's doing the exact same thing, and so that's what he knows. And I want to change that channel for myself and for him and for the others that come further on down the lineage. Anyway, I'll pause there. That's a huge rant. And I haven't even gone into the real conspiracy theories yet. You know, the guys on the rooftop with the binoculars looking at us. When you start talking about revolution, that's what we need. That's what this world needs. But I fear that the systems that have been put in place to condition us and to condition people at such a broad scale, it's so deep. It's media, it's movies. I mean, at one point, and I would be naive to think it's not still happening, but at one point it was well known that the CIA was working with Hollywood to produce war propaganda so that people feel, basically generate interest in people joining the military and joining the service and painting the military in the best possible light. And so now when people think about all the good America does abroad and militarily, they basically they get a large part of these notions from the movies they watch, where America's the good guy and they're rescuing the world from terrorism. But if you were to go to some third world country where we're busy dropping bombs on, you know, every third Tuesday, where they live in fear of their lives of an American bomb falling out of the sky, they would probably call us the terrorists. And so I just worry that, you know, there's so much in place embedded in our society to control the way that people think and to shape their worldviews, that we'll never be able to break outside of that bubble and create the world that we really could create, where there's peace, where there's, you know, food, access to food and healthcare and all those other things for everyone, not just for the select few or those who are married to a partner who has health insurance. And so, you know, I just wonder, do we ever get to a point where society works for everyone, not just for the select few? Or are we just doomed to live in this cycle forever where people are turned into batteries so the machine can keep going?
So in case anybody was wondering, literally that's what I do. That's what I'm here to get rid of all the brainwashing. That's what HBIC is all about, because absolutely the fuck not. We are not living these narratives.
Absolutely the
I
fuck
do
not.
not. I have okay, so I've always, I mean, like, since I was little, I've always questioned the system. I've always questioned the authority. Why? Why? I don't like that. We shouldn't do this. This doesn't seem right. And so I think, like, as I got more into the process of trusting myself, believing in myself, like realizing my natural gifts and worth, it was even more like, why do I have to do this? This seems like a really dumb idea. And so, like, just that's the goal. Like, I have, like, my mission statement, my values and my vision out there on the internet now, and, like, the vision is for people to be able to just wake up in the morning and not feel a sense of dread. Like, people to wake up in the morning and know that they can go and do whatever they need to do, and, like, nobody's going
Preach.
to be like, but you should try it this way. And it's gonna take time, because it's so hardwired in us to not, our ego, we are constantly protecting our ego, because our ego's like, no, this is safe, we're going to continue to do this way because it's safe. And a lot of times people don't do well when, like, you're trying to challenge something or change, like, it gets uncomfortable, and people don't like being uncomfortable. And so they're like, never mind, I quit. I'm just going to live this life. The discomfort that I feel from trying to do things differently, from trying to expand myself, is far less than the discomfort I feel than waking up every single morning questioning life and trying to figure out why I made good life choices and I'm still broke. So I do not believe in like this world where we have to do things and in order to survive. And it's like I always like tell people, you know, if HBIC had employees, it would be the funniest fucking job in the entire world, because like there are no job descriptions. Babe, what do you want to do? What's interesting to you? Okay, well, this is what I need. Is this in alignment? They'll be like, well, I don't care. I don't care if you have a degree. I don't care. I just, do you want to do it? And if you don't have the skills, we'll figure out how to get you those skills. Like, I want you to do what you want to do. Oh, you need a week off for whatever. I really don't care. Just let me know what you're working on so I can pick it up for you so you don't have to come back to a mess. I leave for 2 days and I have like 8,000 emails. And I'm like, did anybody do anything while I was gone? Like, what? Why? For what purpose? Why? Why are y'all in my inbox? It's too early. It's too early. So, yeah, I don't. No, I refuse it. If I die and the world is not to where I want it to be, I will die at least knowing that I fought with everything that I have to try to make it better. And I may only end up with like 20 people in the revolution with HBIC coaching and out here just living their best lives. But you know what? That was 20 people that before were still a part of the system. God, I'm
Yeah.
yelling. Why am I yelling?
Yeah, I mean, when you start talking about the system, you just get angry. Shit, I get riled up. But you're tugging on the Tupac thread right there, where there's a quote. I'm gonna paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically he said, "I may not be the one to change the world. I probably won't be, but I'm gonna be the one to influence the mind of the person who will. I'm gonna be that spark in that other person's mind, and they're gonna change the world." And I'm okay with that too. Although I would love to actually see the changes within my lifetime. And I think with advances in medicine technology and what's going to come on the horizon with AI and coupled with healthcare, that I think there's a potential for both lifespans and health spans to extend pretty dramatically to the point where we could live long enough to see those changes if we are also working towards those changes, because technology is another tool that can be further used to oppress people, that can be further used to continue to perpetuate the systems that we live in, and in a way where it's even easier and hands off for those that are in power, because now they got you just program the robots to be the enforcers. And you even see it online now. There's a site, Reddit, some people are familiar with it, some people aren't. The site slogan is "the front page of the internet." It's a forum where people post on all manner of topics. And in recent years, I've seen an explosion of bot behavior on Reddit, where they come into these controversial topics of discussion. Take the COVID vaccine, for example, and I would love to talk about that here, but I don't know how controversial you're willing to get. But they go into discussion topics like that, and these bots, and they just flood the comment section with narratives that shape the way that people think. And so it's not even people now at this point that are having to go online and have these conversations to try to shape public opinion. They just program the bots, and then the bots go online, and people think they're interacting with real people. And then because of that, the whole group thing takes over. The whole group think thing takes over, and now you have echo chambers that are kind of perpetuated by these bots, and people think, oh, they're feeling the social pressure. 1,000 bots are telling me I need to take a vaccine, or I need to think this way about a certain topic, so let me fall in line. And that's just one of the ways of many that I think technology can work against the quote unquote revolution. I saw a video just yesterday. There was a social experiment that was done where people were coming in, they were interviewing for a job. There were a row of chairs set up in this big room, and 3 actors were positioned in the first 3 seats. And every time the interviewers that were behind this like glass pane they tapped a bell, like one of those like ring bells for service bells that they have at the front desk of hotels, and a little ding. They hit the ding, and then the three actors stand up. They've got like this application in their hand that they're filling out. They stand up and they're filling out their application. There's another ding. They sit down and they keep working on their application. Ding up, ding down. And so these are the three actors. And then they bring in people who thought they were actually applying for the job. And so there's like a row of seats. And one by one, they bring these people in. They never give them any instructions at all. They hit the ding. The actual real people that are applying for the jobs, they look over, they see the actors getting up every time there's a ding, then sitting down. And so they start modeling that behavior. They one by one, they bring these actual real applicants in. Ding, they stand up, they sit down. Anytime someone that was brought in that didn't fall in line with that, social pressure. So there, there's a woman, her name's Amy or whatever, and she, she's just sitting down filling out her application. She didn't give a fuck about why these people are standing or sitting down. Nobody told her that she needed to do that or that it was a prerequisite for the job. And so she's like, what the fuck are these people doing? They're standing up, sitting down, looking loony. She just stays in her seat. After a couple of up down rounds, then somebody comes and they're like, okay, Amy, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to proceed with your candidacy. So she gets ushered out the room and then replaced by somebody else that falls in line. And then something interesting happens. So now you've got this whole line of chairs that are filled with people, stupid, dumbass people, just standing up, sitting down. And then they remove the actors, the initial three actors that kind of seeded this behavior. And now you've just got the actual real world people that were never given any instructions whatsoever. They're just following suit of what they saw other people doing and feeling the social pressure of not wanting to be the odd person out. And so now the actors are completely removed from the equation. They bring in a couple other real people to fill in those seats. And now all of them, ding up, ding down, ding up, ding down. And this is what's happening in our society in real world, So going back to the bot thing, draw the equivalent of those bots being the three people, the three actors that initially are kind of controlling the narrative. They're showing people what you should think, how you should behave, how you should respond to certain topics, things that are okay to say and things that aren't okay to say. And soon you've got real world people following behind. Ding, standing up. Ding, sitting back down. Ding, standing up. And then you can turn the bots off and people are already programmed, just like the bots were initially. And so that's the other side of the equation, the way that technology can be used against us for just to further the social programming. And so I get worried about, how much more difficult it can make for freedom fighters such as yourself to lead the revolution in the face of these technological advancements coming on board. And the way that the internet is being used, how do we have the most connected society in the history of our race of civilization, and we're using it just to argue with people about dumb stuff and talk about celebrity news when we could be using it to organize resources and making major change? And nope, we're just talking about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West being an anti-Semitic and how did we get here, and where are the real leaders? Are they just getting plucked off by snipers before they get to the point where they can influence major change? And how do you as a revolutionary keep yourself alive long enough to scale the change that you're looking to make so that you can influence the world at large?
Right.
Spite? I'm gonna stay alive just out of spite? Is that what you're saying?
At this point, I survive out of spite. Literally last year, I thought I was going to die several times. I really did. And I was like, no, well, we're not going to do, you're not taking me out. I'm going to survive just to prove a point. I've always been the odd one out. So it is just a natural thing for me to just not care. I don't occasionally, because I'm so bored, and I'll get an article about the Kardashians and I'm just like, I hate everything about this. And I was like, I'm so ashamed of myself. And I was like, but why are they like this? What is but I'm so disconnected. I'm online, but I'm also so disconnected from everything outside of me. I really don't care what's going on. I'm trying to do something and I need all of my focus on that. I don't have time for what the celebrities are doing, who said what, who wore this. Like, they're, first of all, they're fucking people. They're still people. And like the obsession is just like top notch. Now, don't get me wrong. Like when I met Daly the other day, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And I was like, and I'm just gonna fangirl and I'm trying really hard not to. He was like, it's okay. And his little British accent, he was just so cute. And his stupid curls. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. But like, I don't idolize him. I respect him and I appreciate the music that he makes. And so like it was just cool to meet the person behind something that means so much to me. And but like I have no idea what this man is doing like the rest of the year. Like I don't know. I think the only artist that I might be slightly obsessed with is Banks because I'm just trying to figure out when she's coming back because I missed my last concert because of stupid things. We're not even gonna go there. And I just need to see her because I just know like I'm gonna have like this out of body, like ethereal goddess experience because this woman literally got me through the divorce, like through the divorce. But I just don't, you know who I idolize? Like my friends, myself, mentors, people who I have a direct connection with that I actually know. Because for all I know, like these people are actually like really big jerks. But like ZZ Ward, when I met her for the second time, she's the sweetest thing in the entire world. And I truly believe that she's genuinely a sweet person. But like I don't know her to be like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. Like I have to be her, you know? So anything that I do in coaching, anything that I say, I'm going to always remind you, one, the only thing you can control is yourself, and two, stop worrying about what other fucking people have to say. Stop worrying about what other people are doing. Those are not your beliefs to have. Get rid of them. It's not serving you. And some people listen and some people are hard-headed and I can't make you do anything, but I can tell you when you're being a dumbass. Like, who cares that your mom said that? Like, why do we care? She doesn't get to be disrespectful just because she's your mom. Like, that's just rude. But, like, you caring so much about that is exactly what she wants, is to keep you the person and the mindset that she wants you to be in. So, yeah, I'm like really pro. I don't care what other people are doing. I haven't even been on Threads since my birthday because like I've been so exhausted and like I had a conversation with friends about like being online and stuff and I was like, you guys don't understand how much I hate being online. I just don't. I'm not this person. I was like, but sadly because I'm not going outside to be a coach, like it's kind of a necessarily evil. But I have offloaded a lot of stuff to my virtual assistant to where like I don't have to do anything but like respond, you know, when somebody says something to me. And like my focus could be 18 million other places. But I did kind of like come to this realization that if people really want to like be a part of this, like if they want to know what I have to say, they want to know all of those things, they need to get on my email list because two, I have a freaking potty mouth. I don't really give a shit about your rules, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. I said what I said. Like I meant it. And I'm a very intelligent human being and fuck can be used in many ways. I'm not saying it towards people. I'm just saying that's how irritated I am. So there might be a chance that I'm muted, I'm banned, my account gets suspended, and then I lose all connection with these people.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I know myself and I know that I have to prioritize certain things. And right now, Threads is not, it's not a needle moving activity. Like, unfortunately, it's not getting me anybody interested in like actually working with me. So I have to focus on needle moving. Did you just raise your hand like we were in school?
No, yeah, I'm just saying you got one. You got me. I'm joining the baddie prog. $7 a month, I can afford that. Is it a gender agnostic program? Like is there a community element to it or like how's it set up?
Okay.
Do I get access to other baddies?
Yeah. So we have a Discord community, which like I admittedly have been letting slack, but I only have two beautiful members who love me dearly and understand that like I'm still trying to flesh this out. So like their expectations for me are so low. They're like, no, we know you're going to succeed. We know you're going to be great. We want to support you. We're here to help you make this better, make this whatever. But there is a Discord attached to it. And so I had a call for the membership last week. And one of the things she was like, I forget that courses exist. So like I need reminders. Got you, boo. I can do that. I can schedule so many. I can do that. But like I know I'm gonna have 100 members. But my problem is that I get so excited. I'm a manifesting generator. I get so excited about things that I skip steps. I skip so many steps. And like I went from A to Z. And like then I'm like thinking in my head, this is kind of like what happened to me this week. I was like, these 100 members are coming. I just know it. Like I feel it in my soul. Like I already see it. I see the deposits from Stripe coming out. Like I see it. I was like, but we're not ready for that. And the reason we're not ready is because right now I can move these people to like a new platform. That's not going to be hard. There's only 2 of them. Like 5, 10, I can do that. But 100 people, there is the logistics of that is just going to stress me out to have to move those people after. So I sat down and was like, stop trying to think about what the next thing is. You already have content for at least 6 months, probably longer because people take a long time sometimes in self-study courses, but you're still going to be a celebrity and show up for them. But I was like, I need to put my systems in place. I was like, I need my systems. I said, and once I have my systems, then the 100 people will come easily. Like, it's not even a big deal. So there's that. But also, New Year Better Baddie is the course that like we're doing right now. And like, there's 6 modules. And it's like taking you on this journey from self-awareness all the way to self-acceptance. And there's like workbooks, there's worksheets. Sometimes I'll do videos. Sometimes I'll do a PowerPoint presentation, and then every month I'll have a call, and I'm thinking about doing 2 right now since I only have one-on-one client right now, so I have a little bit more time. But like everyone in there gets extra things. Like if they wanted to work with me one-on-one, like they get a huge discount for being in the membership. But it's so funny that you're like $7 a month, I can afford that. That's literally what both of them said. They were like, I thought you were going to make it like $30, but $7 is a steal, and I actually can afford that. And so like that just validated my feelings about like the people that you are trying to accommodate, the people you are trying to reach are in a market where they are often forgotten about. They are not considered when people are making products and they're not making it accessible. And something that is so important to me is accessibility because it's important. It's very important. So that's where it is. That's the price. And
Send me
like
the
I
link.
had a
Send me
business
the
coach
sign
in
up
my
link.
DMs like talking shit. And I was like, babe, first of all, I'm an accountant. I know how to do math. Like I know exactly what I need from like a membership standpoint to be able to quit my job. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. But yeah.
I
So
forgot about the accountant thing. All this time I'm sitting here saying math is hard and you're just laughing at me like, yeah, maybe for you, not
math,
for me.
listen, math is hard. That's what Excel exists for.
Yeah, I'm the king of Excel. So, but yeah, send me the sign up link. I'm joining, and I'm gonna be your number 3 supporter. I'm gonna go through the course, and I'm gonna be like the top baddie, and everybody's
You're
gonna
gonna
say
be like
yes,
asking
queen.
questions. You're like, okay, I'm ready. Let's hop on a call. Let's talk about this.
Yep.
Yeah. So I will do that. Okay, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark. And that's why I gave us 2 hours. Is there anything that you want to say to wrap up? Is there anything you need people to know? Like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling after like this light coaching that I gave?
I don't think we quite got to the part of the how to get to the joy in life. We started down that road, but I hit the paywall, so now I'm signing up for the signing up for the coaching. So no,
I can't
it's
give away all my
yeah,
secrets.
that's fair. That's fair. It always feels good to express the things that we're holding in. And so, this has been cathartic in that sense because I don't really have too many people that I can bounce some of the heavier topics off of. And so I'm thankful that you held space for me to do that here today. I would say the only thing that I would want people to know is one, I'm not going to fuck this up by closing the browser prematurely. So we're going to get the files that we need to get from this session. That's one. Two, I'm working on an album right now that I'm hoping to have it wrapped up by summertime and then start figuring out like shooting visuals for it and having this whole promo campaign. I'm not looking to become some sort of world famous music artist. I actually did that at one point. So in another lifetime, I was a rapper. I actually had some songs playing here on the major local radio stations in DC. You know, I'd go into the clubs and the host would be like, "Hey, Drew Dude's in the building," and you know, shout me out on the broadcast, and they happen to be broadcasting on live, and then people would be texting me like, "Oh, did they just shout you out on the radio?" Goddamn right, they just shouted me out on the radio. And then you know, I had such a good relationship with the host that sometimes I would like snatch the mic, and you know, I would become the de facto club host for the night, and you know, they'd be spinning my stuff, and it was a good time. And then I realized that I don't actually like performing, but I like making the music. And so I'm working on an album. It's probably the realest thing, the realest creative work that I've put together to date. It's going to get me in a lot of trouble once I actually release it with people that know my personal life and that are within the inner circle. It's going to cause some fallout. But I got to do it because that's what wants to come out. And so anyway, be on the lookout for that is a long story short. Sometime later on this year, it's going to drop. And it's not going to break the internet, but it is going to break my life, and people are going to have a front row seat to all of that. I think that's it. That's all the news fit to print for mine.
Well, as you all know, in case you forgot, I'm the HBIC in HBIC coaching, and I just love talking to human beings on here. It's just fascinating. And I promise if you want to come on the podcast, I won't like coach you the whole time. I just feel like Drew wanted it, but he was too shy to ask for it. But yeah.
It's true.
Well, whenever the album is ready to come out, let me know and I can do what I can to support you, because when one of us wins, we all win. And yeah, this was fun. And I don't know when round 3 is, but I feel like that's inevitable at this point. We have too much to like unpack here.
For
There's a
sure.
lot in you that like I still don't know. And I was like, no, we're gonna work through it whether you want to or not.
I'll be your case study, you know, and we can. I like your idea of getting some other people on the call too that can like ask questions and you know help steer the conversation. So you can put me in the hot seat. We'll get a little audience going and just I'll bare my soul for all of them, and we'll figure it all out together.
I love it. All right. Well, this is going to be a really long podcast, guys. I'm so sorry. But you know, it is what it is. We'll do this again next time.
Maybe we'll set like an hour limit and try to condense all the good stuff.
I don't think we can do it.
Thank you, baddies. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.